Well, abundant blessings and galactic day. It is a holy shalom, and we are here for Back to Torah, Back to the Future. I'm here with my brother, Apostle Ben, Apostle Ace. Listen, he can unmute himself. We're here together, and we're actually doing a pre-recording this week because I, again, will be on the road coming in, but I didn't want to not bring you the Torah for this week. I wanted to make sure that we accomplished that assignment. Last week was a whole nother beast. I was preparing for going out of town, and what an amazing time I had in Puerto Rico with my grandbabies and quite a few others. But I'm excited to be back, brother.
Well, listen, it's excited to have you back, and holy shalom to each and every one. It's just a privilege and honor. As always, it's a plumb pleasing pleasure on this holy day, and I'm excited. I'm excited.
Listen, I'm amped up and excited too. Y'all know at sundown, wherever you are, is the beginning of the Sabbath. And so we're starting out this weekend ready to step into the new, ready to step into the new dimension. And that's a really big deal. A lot of us kind of overlook that, but it's a really big deal. The Father wants us to mark the time. He wants us to begin to identify with the numbering of the days. And that's a whole conversation. We'll talk about that a little bit because it's so important that we begin to make identification of the time that we're in, that we begin to make identification of the hours that we have and how we're spending it, what we're doing with that time, so that as we are dealing with time, we can identify with what the cycles that we're creating are. Because, you know, time is not linear, it's cyclical. So we are actually the masters of the time. This is what we were formed for. This is what we were born for. We're of the God kind. So when we talk about close encounters of the God kind, this is part 2. And we have looked at the scripture and we have seen that these men that were created in the image and the likeness of Yah, some of them, like for instance, Enoch, he did his own thing for 65 years, but something happened at the turn of that 65, and we might need to look at that number, but something happened at 65. He began to walk with Yah. He began to walk with the gods. So when we say walk with the Elohim, walk with the gods, a lot of people get thrown off because religious people think it's only one God, and you know, that's a whole nother conversation. But there are those that the Father has designed to walk with us. Just like we have angelic assistants, we have assistants of the great cloud of witnesses. What is the great cloud of witnesses? But those that we were created after the image and likeness of, that actually are the expression of who Yah is. And so they are walking in these dimensions that we are demanded to come up to. We're not just for the earth. We're of the earth, but we're not just for the earth. Listen, we're for dimensions. We are meant to walk with the gods. We are meant to adjudicate. We are meant to create the boundaries and the jurisdictions of the heavens. We are meant to definitely bring down the edict of heaven in the earth concerning the things that are operating on this earth. And listen, we got to step into this role in this hour as never before, because the earth is groaning. And so are we, because now we are under the awareness of what we are. And when you become aware of what you are, you got to tap into all that what you are encompasses. You know, what if a cucumber looked like a green bean? You know, once the cucumber begins to realize its form, it only takes the form of the cucumber. It doesn't go in the direction of the green bean because it's not a green bean. You understand what I'm saying? That cucumber, the knowledge that is being revealed to us through the seed of what it is, begins to take a form and a shape based on its kind. And this is where we are in this hour of mankind. We are identifying the God kind that we are. And now we're being demanded to step into the authentication of that God kind to begin to express the image of our King in the earth. Brother, go ahead and say something to the people.
Oh my. Listen. Yeah, my goodness.
Here we go.
That is something, because, you know, after its own kind. And what we're coming into, what we're coming in alignment with. You know, I just thinking about the immortality. You know, he
Yes.
created that every. You know, when we look at our time,
Yes.
and it created time and eternal.
Yeah.
So in our time we have eternal, that we can be immortal in time. And so it's just interesting because what we was happening now, that we're coming to identify who we are, what we are capable of doing as immortals. Everything that is happening with the sons of Yah,
Yes.
everything, and having the authority that He's given us to operate in time. Even I used to say, well, how to bend time, to extend time, to shorten time.
Yes.
These authorities that we have now, because what we see today, what's happening today with the
Yes.
elements, with the
Come on.
elements, because only the immortal and as in able to be able to have authority over the elements, the things that we're seeing now that's going forth in the universe,
Yes.
in the earth, the waters below, the wind, all these things, because now, after its kind, the immortal now is able to move in that which that the sons of Yah is made up of: wind,
Yes.
earth, fire, and water. And so now we have the authority because, as you know, fire, no fire;
Hmm.
water, no water; earth, no earth; wind, no wind. And so I just even thinking about going back to the time when they were formed and put him in the garden. He went from created into form, into immortality, and able to have this authority. So now we're in the fullness of this now.
Oh, no.
We've seen throughout the scriptures
Yes.
kibbles and bits of
Yes.
immortality. You know, that what Yah has revealed during this whole holy spectrum of everything that He's
Yes.
revealed to us. And so now we're coming into the fullness of time. Well,
Yes.
people call it the end of the age, but we're coming into the fullness of full operation of what He's given us, so the earth can be and the universe can be what He has designed for it to be. I'm
Come on.
excited because we all being upgraded.
Hey, Shabbat. Come on now, upgrade.
we we're being upgraded, and
Come to
whether people realize it or not, see, an upgrade can be beneficial. But if you
yeah.
don't know you're being upgraded, you become confused on what's
Come on.
going on with you.
Become bitter.
And
You'll get
so
angry.
many,
You'll get angry.
come on now, people don't know what's happening because they're being upgraded, and yet those the sons of Yah understands the upgrade.
Come on now.
Why? Because it prepares us. It keeps us.
Come on now.
Excuse me. As the earth and everything, the universe and the water,
Yes.
all these things are happening. And so Yah said, I got to prepare you for the upgrade, because
Mm.
that major shift, only the immortals, only, the immortals, those who have immortality, that able to stand the judgment and the weight of His
Yes.
glory, of the things that are happening right now. So I'm excited,
Yes. Yes.
sis.
Yes.
I'm excited. These are great and terrible times. And
And
I was
terrible.
like, listen, anybody that ready to be raptured and go to a place where they don't even have a clue where they're going,
Come on.
I tell them, y'all can go ahead.
Go ahead.
But Yah has promised this one thing. and I'm here to. I'm in a position for the fulfillment of that
Come on.
promise.
Come on.
Because he why would he rapture people away and haven't fulfilled his promise? That doesn't make any sense.
That would make him a liar.
Absolutely.
And he said,
Absolutely.
I can't.
So come on now, sis.
Won't I perform what I said?
And so I'm excited about. I mean, this. I feel within me. I feel the change. I feel the upgrade. No, yes, we there's things that he said. Now the upgrade. I'm getting rid of the old. I'm getting rid of the old and upgrading. And here's something that I want you to understand. We call it an upgrade, but it's who he is. So we coming out of this into what we are supposed coming back to this place of immortality in time. That's really exciting to operate on a level in time greater than the past.
Come on now. Come on.
That's really something to be in alignment and to have that after his kind. To see, to speak, and say, hey, stop. And say, here's time. No, you're not going to go no further than this. I'm going to extend time. Yeah. We've been in a position. It's like, come on, what are you doing? Well, and y'all said, listen, everything that's going to take place, it has to what he is doing is eternal, and it's immortality. We can't operate on that level and have anything where we came from still there.
Yes. Yes.
And so many people are moldy. They got mold in their life, mold and mildew lifestyles. And I said, no. This is I'm judging, I'm sweeping, I'm cleaning, and everything. Because I tell you, sis, this authority, my body is balanced. I know that I was going through some detox. And I said, you got to go through this detox.
You got to.
I said, okay. Yes. Because this what's happening now, you can't have nothing from your child life, from your mama's womb. No. We talk about being born again. No. Come on now. So,
reborn.
Rebirth. Absolutely. So I'm excited. I'm excited about the things that are happening, and the assignment that is very clear that we have, and so
it's exciting. It's extremely exciting. We're live with you today, but like I said, I didn't want to go another week without bringing Torah to you, but definitely get out your pens, get out your paper, get out the word, and let's dive into this Close Encounters of the God Kind 2. Back to Torah, back to the future. You can't get to your future until you get to Torah, and that's just the truth. That's just the truth. You cannot understand your future until you understand your origin. And Torah begins, the beginning is Bereshit. It talks about the beginnings of things. And we know that Job, also known as Job in the English, is one of the oldest books. But this is such a miraculous, the way the Father designed this is so miraculous that he would choose to make this the beginning of Torah, because it encompasses, to me, all of that. It starts with the fact that there was civilization before this interruption, before things were out of sorts, before things were not optimal and operable as they were originally created. It takes us back to origin. Whenever you have chaos, whenever you have a thing that is out of alignment, it has to go back to source in order to come into order. In order to come into alignment, it must go back to source. It can't be solved on the level that it was created. The chaos, this creation of chaos, it cannot be solved on that level. It must go above it in order to find the solution. And so the book of Genesis has served for us as a foundation for understanding humanity's divine origin and the nature of Yah's interaction with his creation. We've been looking at this for some weeks now, and throughout the chapters of Genesis, we have witnessed close encounters between the God kind and humanity. And I'm purposefully saying what I'm saying because this God kind is revealing profound truths about the character of Yah. I told his intentions and his plans for mankind. I told you he's a collaborative God. You go to Psalms 82, you're going to see the collaboration, the mindset of his collaboration. And why does he put man in the earth? What's the purpose of that? But to collaborate with man, to express who he is. These encounters are not just about historical records, but they are blueprints for understanding the engagement of God with his creation, the engagement of Yah with his creation, and how we, the image and likeness or the image bearers, are called to respond to that engagement. So we look from the Garden of Eden to the covenant with Abraham, right? And these moments highlight some key principles. I want to share a couple of key principles with you that these highlight: divine presence and relationship. When you look at Eden, Yah walking with Adam, the gods walking with Adam and Eve, they are in perfect fellowship with Yah, the origin of everything. They're all in perfect harmony and in perfect fellowship. Why is Adam walking with the gods? Let's go there real quick too. While I'm going there, brother, you go ahead and say something because I want to pull this up real quick.
Yes, yes. So it's something that when you talked about the Torah, when you talk to say Torah, aura, the spirit, that fire, the flame, and so it's just interesting that here is going back to the origin, the very beginning, and it is something because as you look at two things, Yah being the oldest book, and so I had to believe that the book of life or the Torah was in the garden.
Yes.
And the only reason why I said it because then there was that other book, the book of the right of the knowledge of righteousness and evil, also in the garden. So we had the Torah, we had we had the foundation of things there, and yet at the same time, as we read in Genesis, that he says, "I will in my image." That means there were other images. So therefore, he had a purpose and a plan as he created man, and then there was a forming of man. So the purpose and the plan that after its kind, because there were other kinds in the earth.
Come on now.
There were other kinds in the earth, and as you were saying that the how created that the destruction or chaos brings us to a new place, brings us to a place of order, right? Because each day of creation, it says, and the evening and the morning was the next day. So that means there was chaos created. There was chaos that brings you into the next day of order.
Come on now. The next dimension.
You see, the next dimension.
Come on.
Can't stay there. So you got that evening. So we're there. We're in this dimension now that says this. There's chaos because I'm shifting you. I'm upgrading you. So that's in order for this to happen. There's chaos that will take place. You're going to see a lot, but the weeping may endure for the night, but joy come in the chaos. not when it's day, because that's new. But in the chaos of everything, I'm giving you the ability to handle all this, what I'm taking you, what you're going through, to get to a place of balance, a place of peace, a place of subtle. You're calm, and so therefore, but your joy in me, you got to have joy in me to be able to take you through this, because if you don't have this joy, then you're caught up in everything that's going to take place, and you will be the casualty. You'll be a casualty of life.
Yes. Listen, I just heard this word while you were talking. He said the chaos is meant to carry you, not to bury you.
Right. Exactly.
It's meant to carry you, not to bury you. If you get a hold of that, you'll understand that the thing that begins to be uncomfortable for you is not about killing you, it's about revealing.
No. There you go. That's it.
Because the chaos is for the next dimension of orders and instructions. And what looks like chaos to you is simply the interruption of the order that once was. It's not necessarily a negative thing. It's the interruption of the order as it once was. I know people I'm very close to, and I'll just speak on somebody I love very dearly. They were used to a certain way of life. And so now, when that way of life was interrupted, because that's what their trust was in, because that's what their focus was on, now they're confounded or they're confused because their focus needed to shift. That situation, that chaotic situation, was to make them shift their focus to Yah, not to the circumstance, not to what they were used to, but shift it to Yah so that they could get the next set of instructions, the next set of orders. And in getting the next set of orders, then that banishes the chaos and brings the order for the next dimension of the work or the expression of that specific person. But when we see chaos as a problem, when we see the interruption, because that's all the chaos is, it's an interruption of how a thing originally was working, right? It's not a catastrophic thing. It's not catastrophe. It's just the interruption of how a thing was once working. But if we see it through the lens of Yah, if we see it through divine eyes, then we can identify, I'm being moved from the dimension that I'm in to the next dimension. And when we talk about people like Enoch, you got to look at this with divine eyesight, because Enoch did his life the way Enoch wanted to do it for 65 years. But something happened at the age of 65 that shifted him from doing it his way to walking with God, to walking with Yah. This is what the scripture says. Enoch walked with God, and he was, and then he was not, because Yah took him. Because he walked with the gods. He walked with the Elohim. There was a shift there. But I want to go back to Genesis, because I want you to see the dynamics here. Genesis chapter 3 has this discussion about Adam, mankind, after they have sold the aprons and done all of this stuff, because they're hiding, because they have partaken or they have consumed, and this is why this is so important, they've consumed something that has affected their genes, their divine genealogy. They've consumed something, therefore they've assumed the nature of and the likeness of another thing. This is so important that you get this. But the word says in verse 8 that they heard the voice of Yah, Elohim, the Elohim of Yah, walking in the garden in the cool of the day. Now that's something, because we only, like I said, we only draw into that one thing. But one of the things that I want to mention, because it does mention Yah as the supreme here, but then it discusses Elohim, meaning plural, and there was a conversation. There were conversations after the conversations. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yah and the Elohim amongst the trees of the garden. Why? Because they were overhearing the conversation. It's not that they didn't know that they were found out. It's just that They were looking for a way to cover. They were looking for a way to conceal. They were looking for a way to place blame or to take the responsibility off of themselves. There were so many conversations in that garden. And I love this, verse 10, when Yah and Elohim called unto Adam and said unto him, where are you? Well, what's going on? Because remember, he said, let us. Right? Let us make man in our image and our likeness. And if you go to Psalm 82, you'll understand the us. And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. But one of the things that I wanted to bring was how this alignment with Yah positions us to walk with the kind that are of our own, kind. It positions us, because when you're walking outside of your kind, then you're operating as something else. You're operating under another. So you're not operating as your original or authentic self. And this is the thing that the Father's calling us into, to pivot and to process. This was Enoch's whole situation, the pivot and the process. Okay? So this encounter and that first thing, these are key elements of divine presence and relationship is such a priority. Because when Adam and Eve were in perfect fellowship, they were walking with the gods. They were walking with those that had once walked the earth on the level that they were walking it, but had now been elevated to a position in another dimension to be able to commune with and to fellowship with mankind. Showcasing his desire for intimacy and relationship was the whole point of this original situation, this original fellowship. And this encounter was an illustration of humanity's original design, to live in unbroken communion with God. What do you think about that, brother? What's your comment on that?
Spirit, test the spirit by the spirit.
That's it.
And, to be able to understand that whole realm of dimension and communicating, to think about Adam when he was out of alignment now.
Oh my God!
And in his communication with the Elohim, and in the eternal, to be out of alignment, to be out of fellowship now, knowing that where he is now is where he came from as being created. And so I associate that with the carnal flesh. His flesh now is exposed, and so now there is chaos. Knowing that here is I've been communicating on a level that had never been before. That is something that we don't understand. We don't. To communicate on your after its own kind, and so it becomes difficult because so many people we've been taught to be on that level where there is no glory, there is no aura, there is no Torah, to be exposed. Yes, I'm naked. So now I got to do some things in order for you to be accepted in my presence. Now there's things that has to be done, and so we're gonna have to do some sacrificing now. Something has to die in order for you to be in my presence. So there's some things that's gonna have to take place. It's not gonna be altogether good. Because you're gonna suffer, and you're gonna feel some things in your flesh. You're gonna feel dis-ease and all these things, and the mildew and the mold and what have you, and you're gonna feel out of place, out of sorts, and it's not going to feel good. You ain't going to want to be out of the place where you come, where I put you in, but I'm going to put you in the place where you came from, you know. And so, but it's just that Yah is bringing us back to the levels of communicating with the Elohims on that level right now, you know, and it's just really something. So, you know, I can say, yeah, here I am, you know,
Yes.
instead of saying, where are you? I've hid myself because I'm naked and I'm exposed. Everything about me is what Yah is doing now. He's exposing everything. He's gonna
Yes.
expose your nakedness. He's gonna expose you as a son of Yah.
Idolater, as an
Uh,
idolater or
Come
whatever.
on, whatever it is, he's exposing. He's I'm gonna lift your skirt up. I'm gonna show you what you is.
I'm gonna show you the parts of you that you want to hide. I'm gonna show you parts. Yeah,
Absolutely. You call it private parts. I'm gonna expose it. It won't be private no more.
absolutely. It won't
But
be
yeah,
victorious
but
secret
yes.
anymore. It'll be victorious revelation.
Come on, come on. Right, right, right.
Oh my
Absolutely. So, you know, to experience that level of walking in the eternal, you
yeah,
know, to experience that lifestyle of the eternal. And that's what we have to come to. It's a lifestyle. You know, we can't come into eternal and live a lifestyle where we come from. It's not going to work.
it's
You
not gonna
know,
work.
it will not work. So we're practicing the lifestyle of the eternal. You know,
That's it.
to get used to. So it is first nature. This is our first nature. The likeness. This is who we are.
Yes,
So yeah, but
I
anyway.
love that. I love that. The second key principle in this is covenant and promise, and this is what Father does. This is what Yah does. Abba does this. He makes a covenant. He makes a promise. And I remember even from a little girl, we had this thing. A promise is a promise, and I fell in love with rainbows as a little girl. It was a connection to that concept that a promise is a promise. You know, with Noah, God initiates covenant. With Abraham, he initiates covenant. What does he do? He binds himself to humanity through his own word. Through his own words. He binds himself with promises that are for the purpose of revealing his faithfulness and for unfolding the whole process of redemption concerning his creation. Number three is revelation and obedience. You know, Jacob's dream of the ladder connecting between the heaven and the earth to demonstrate the Father's desire to reveal himself and his purpose. He said, listen, angelic agents ascending and descending. But these moments call for obedience and alignment with the divine will of Yah. Because if Yaakov could not have followed the instruction in the dream that he was given when he was being taken advantage of. And see, here's the thing. When he was in Laban's care, when he was in the family house and he was being taken advantage of, he had to identify with some things. He said, listen, I'm a man here and I've got a family of my own now. So I need to be able to come to the place of provision. I need to be able to come to the place of sustaining that which was given to me. How can I do that when I'm under the care and under the influence of this place that is dishonest, that is untrue, that is shrewd, that is taking advantage? Understand the Father has an answer for those places. We tend to get upset. We tend to get bent out of shape and blow up the whole thing. Let me tell you something. One of the things, I'm going to tell you what the Father told me. I've been sharing this with a lot of people. I don't know if I shared it with you, brother. But one of the things that is going to be paramount for us in this dimension, in this opening of 5785 that we're walking into come Passover, and even now, it's standing your ground. Are you hearing what I'm saying? But you're going to have to know what ground you're standing on. Because there will be people that take advantage. But let me tell you something. They seek to take advantage, but the truth of the matter is you can't blow up the whole thing. Yaakov could have said, the hell with all of this. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just going to walk off. No, the Father had something in mind for him. He had to be able to switch or to trade the places. Are you listening to me? When we read stuff like the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just, y'all don't get this. That means you're going to have to undergo some things. That means you're going to have to be challenged in some environments. That means you're going to have to be able to control yourself long enough to receive the spoils, long enough for the trading of places to happen, long enough for the wealth to be turned over to you. But if you cannot control yourself, they don't know who I am. And, if you're going through all of them changes, you're going to mess yourself up. You're going to walk away from some place that you're supposed to be taking these spoils from. I made up my mind years ago, brother. I thought about some things that I had processed through, and I began to think about how I could have processed better. Man, if I had done it this way, I'd have been differently positioned. But I got mad. I got pissed off. I said, oh, no, you won't do me like that. And walked off. But there was a positioning that the Father wanted to make sure that I was in alignment with, but I was so frustrated with the chaos. I didn't see the chaos right, brother. I didn't see it right. Jacob was able to see the chaos properly long enough to get to the revelation of the trading of places and to activate the dream and see the manifestation of what was in the dream. You can't blow it up. Yeah, people might talk to you crazy. They might do all kinds of things in this season. But what you're going to have to know is how to stand your ground. What do I mean by stand your ground? I mean identify, have a revelation of who you are. Have a revelation of how Yah sees you, and make sure that you see yourself the way the Father sees you, so that you understand the reason that you've been positioned in this space is for transition. You've been positioned for transition. But if you get into the position and you get frustrated with the position because of whatever is being done, the chaos, right? Then you'll miss the transition, the divine transition that Yah is desiring to align you with concerning this divine will. The fourth one is divine intervention and guidance. I'm going to give you these last two. I'm going to let brother talk again. We know the divine intervention happened just like it happened for Jacob. It happened for all of the sons. In the life and figure of Joseph, we can see Yah intervening to preserve and to guide his people, reminding us of his sovereign hand in the affairs of men. We see this. Joseph was cast out. He was thrown into a pit. His brothers were like, listen, we don't want to hear no more about your dreams, because they understood the dream. Understand, there are some things that the Father has revealed to you in a dream that you don't understand. But the moment you start talking about it, there are some people that have a spiritual understanding of some things that would seek to destroy you so you don't get to it. Hello? He didn't understand the dream realm until he got in the prison. So what was the purpose of this chaos? Ultimately, was for him to get in this space of the prison to begin to be activated as the one who would revelate the dream. His brothers understood the dream. He did not. All he understood was the images that he saw the images, and he could quote the images that he saw, but he didn't understand. His father understood the dream. What are you saying, son? Are you saying that me and your mama and your brother's going to bow down to you? What are you saying? I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just telling you what I see. Right? But he had to get in that space, in the prison, in the chaos, in order to be activated as the one who understood that Yah understands everything. And because he understands everything, I understand it. Because he understands it, he reveals it to me. It's not me that is the one that is revealing it to me, but it is Yah Almighty who is revealing to me the revelation of the thing that is needful to hear, so that we can see the manifestation activated. The last one is a pattern for the future. We're talking about back to Torah, back to the future. Every encounter sets a pattern for understanding how Yah engages with humanity throughout the ages. Every encounter you have sets up a pattern. But if you don't understand and you don't take the time to realize that the dream is about setting patterns or establishing patterns, then you'll say that was a wild dream. That was a scary dream. That was a crazy dream. You'll call it everything but what it is. But what you must do is extrapolate from the dream the common denominator. What is the common denominator? What is the messaging? What is going on? What is the message in this space? Not just who are the people, because sometimes people are, oh, I don't even like that person. I don't know why I'm dreaming about that person. It's not about the person. It's about the messaging. Get the messaging, right? Because these patterns are going to teach us how to recognize the voice of Yah. This is what sharpens our spiritual muscle, right? He talks about sharpening the spiritual acumen. But if we don't begin to recognize his voice, then how do we sharpen the spiritual acumen? How do we identify with his voice to sharpen us and to strengthen us? Because we can't be strengthened if we can't recognize, and we can't respond if we can't recognize, and we can't align ourselves with his purpose if we can't recognize. Go ahead, brother.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. And I can hear the voice of the children of Israel.
Yes.
In Egypt. We've been hearing about the promised land. We're ready for the promised land.
Yeah.
I've been dreaming about the promised land. Yes. They said this is going to be like this and it's going to be like this. Oh, I had a dream last night of the promised land. Yeah. Oh, I said, okay,
cry out.
Let's get ready.
Come on.
And so now he says, okay, let's get ready. The time for you to see the promised land. But it's going to come with trouble.
Chaos.
It's going to come chaos. It's going to come with chaos because you too comfortable. You didn't dream. You had visions and everything. And I'm quite sure what you was dealing with when Moshe finally got back and all these plagues and I gotta labor this way and what have you, and this all this chaos is going on. This is crazy, and we need Moshe. We need to do something with him. We need to shut him down because the more he talk, the worse things get for us.
The deeper our trouble. Oh my God.
He talking too much.
But go sit down somewhere and shut up.
Right. And so, but here we go. Here's the beginning. Nobody ain't really died around us. No death. So we done multiplied. We living long. We got longevity here and everything. Y'all say, okay, now I want you to see the promised land. Now I want you to get to the promised land, but I'm going to reveal who you are in the process. I'm going to reveal who you are in the process. Yes, y'all didn't have this, you didn't have that, but the dream, the vision of everything that you didn't heard about when we came into Egypt and with Joseph and all that stuff. Now I'm getting ready to show you. And it's kind of hard to see when you're dealing with situations. However, we understand that process, that journey, that they finally decided, and we can't take it here no more. However, they left with spoils. They left with gold, silver, the best articles of clothing. And yet y'all say, but this is what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you something when you get over into the next dimension of things, crossing over, the time will come, you're going to need this in the presence of the enemies, my enemies. but I got to give it to you right here. I got to give, because when you cross the Red Sea, you're crossing into another dimension. You went into a whole different. You went into a whole different area that you've never gone before. You're not, now you're living. You're living off the grid now.
Oh my God! Yes.
Moshe, you'd have lost your mind. But we see the eternal. Right. But I'm showing you the eternal in time. And I'm gonna tell you who you are to me. I'm gonna tell you who you are to me. You're gonna be kings and priests in a holy nation. That's who you are, whether you believe it or not. But I'm taking you into this whole dimension right here. And this dimension right here, this area, is gonna prove who you are. This is gonna show who you are. But you've been around a long time, but you're a baby. You can't even handle what I've given you. Because you turn it back, baby. You're an infant, and you gave it back. You gave it back to the gods of the Egyptians. You gave it back. You gave what is mine. You gave it back to the gods of Egypt. However, but I'm giving you something so that you can have when you cross over. But the problem is, as you were saying, as long as the heir is an infant, there is no difference than a slave, although he is to be the ruler of all. If you still a baby, you still immature. When you go through this, is to bring you to maturity. This trouble, this is designed to better you.
Yes.
And there are a lot of folks who say, "Oh, the wealth of the wicked." No, you listen. You still wicked.
Yes.
How can you get the wealth of the wicked and you still taking the wealth of the wicked and you using it for wickedness?
Oh, come on.
So that means it's not. So you're really not getting the wealth of the wicked. You just in the same position they in and try to steal what is not yours, but you stealing it and try to claim it as yours. And understand this, y'all can't. You a baby, because soon as something happens, you're whining. You don't have no foundation. Period.
My God.
And so he's taking us into that dimension.
Yes.
We're shifting into that dimension because he says, now you're here. You're here. You know,
Yes.
it's nothing that we got to fight hard for. For what?
Come on.
The wealth for the wicked, for the righteous? I don't have to fight for that. Listen, my divine alignment, and who I am says, give it up.
That's it.
It's not yours.
Come on. It's got to be turned over. It's not even a conversation. It's like it's without words. But you know what? This takes me back to something that was stated when I was pulling all this together. You for 1 second, brother, because we got this interruption. Switch over to your headphones and see if that works better, because we're gonna have to navigate this thing. We're gonna have to bob and weave. It takes me back to something that was the opener to what we were talking about, and I want you to see this. This is what the Father is saying. Language unlocks life. Language unlocks life. When we're talking about the God kind, when we talk about Elohim expression, we're talking about an expression that's not like any other part of creation. I saw something that was so fascinating to me, and I wish I could pull it up. I wish I had it on my screen real quick. Let me see if I can find it. But it was such an amazing, there it is. Let me see if I can pull it up for you real quick. Because the kind that you're becoming is based on the content that you're consuming, right? And the content that you're consuming is what's feeding the kind that you are becoming. So it takes me back to also Nebuchadnezzar, the king, right? The content that he was consuming was this content of him being a God, which is factual, okay? But now he's exalting himself above the God of gods. He's creating images. He wants other people to bow down to his image. He wants to assume a position that doesn't rightfully belong to him, which in turn positions him to become something other than what he was formed and fashioned for, to express. He was formed and fashioned to express something very specific, and that was the image, the divine image of our Creator. But he transitioned because of what he was consuming. He became consumed with himself, and now he becomes a beast. This is what I saw. Let me show you what I saw. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see. Share screen. Let me see if I can find it. Window. Oh, come on now. I need to find it. I want to find it, y'all. I want to be able to share this with you. View. Okay, I'm going to read it to you. Since I can't find it to share it. It says YouTube. This is a screen that comes up on YouTube when I pull it up on the TV this time today, and it was so apropos for what we were getting ready to talk about, this becoming and this language unlocking life and the breath being the foundation of the image. It said content not rated, parental guidance advised. This is about YouTube. Content not rated, parental guidance advised. Why? Because the impressionable image of a child is going to consume whatever it's looking at, whatever it sees. See, you're in a childlike state when you don't understand that what you are consuming is affecting what you're becoming. You remember we were talking about this the other week, where we said, I don't consume things for entertainment. I consume them for information, right? Big difference. Not consuming things for entertainment. See, when you start consuming stuff for entertainment, oh, here it is. I think this is it. Then it becomes a problem. Oh, it's not going to show it. Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. Okay. But it's important. And we got people all over the world right now putting devices in children's hands, not identifying with what they're watching, not understanding that the more they watch these TikTok videos, the more they watch these YouTube videos, they are taking on the impression of what they are watching. They're very impressionable. They're sponges. They are becoming something. It's forming a character. It's forming a kind. You understand what I'm saying? So this is ultimately important that we understand the content that we are consuming. This is why it's so advantageous that people, you read the word. It's almost like they saying, open this app at your own risk. You know, this content has not been rated. Allow your children to open this up at your own risk, because this is a need. They are telling you that your guidance is advised. Do you know that throughout your life, you need to understand that the guidance of your parent is advised for all the content that you'll be faced with in your life? If you don't have Torah, if you don't have the parental guidance of Yah, if you don't have the information that's going to bring you transformation, you're going to be consuming things and becoming the thing that you're consumed. And it's the thing that's going to separate you from the very authentication of your origination. Brother, say something.
Well, you are what you eat. The consumption, and you become what you consume. And, you know, from the very beginning, from when we look at the physical, then as we look at the spiritual, you know, we see that in the garden. Don't eat this, don't consume it, because if you do, you're gonna be the expression of what you consume. And if I'm telling you this is not what you should not do, if you consume this, there's death. So therefore, if you there's things that you consume, it brings death. You become deaf. That don't mean you just close your eyes and that's it. You know, everything about you is about death. You have consumed something that now that you're living, your lifestyle is about death, you know,
Yeah.
and so there's a when we come in alignment with Yah, the assumption of what He is and who He is, we become, because it's pure. It's not a mixture of any. It's pure, and so then we become just like that, the expression of what we have consumed. And so it's interesting because everything about is consuming. What are you eating? What are you taking in? You know, as you were saying with the children, sponges. What are they hearing? What are they taking in? Uh, and so when you look at the kingdom of God, and you look at people in Christianity, all the Hebrew, what has been. We see now what they are consuming, because it is the expression. We see the expression of what they've been consuming, you know, and so and this is just for the sons of Yah. It's like, this is crazy, you know.
It's
What's
absolutely
been
nuts.
taken in? It is so crazy, the expression of so many things of what has been consumed, you know. Um, and it's just interesting because infants coming out of the womb expressing this. It don't take them long to become for them for to see the expression of what has been consumed, what they have consumed through the mother, what has the mother has taken in. Uh, and listen, he said, I will punish the children to the third and fourth generation. So therefore, there are many things that are coming out today that is the expression of the disobedience 3 or 4 generations ago. You know, so it's interesting because you think, do y'all know what y'all really doing? Do y'all have a clue? So we see this. We see the spirit of it in the generation. We see it in the generation. It is really something, that consumption. What are you taking in? Your eyes, your mouth, your ears, touch, all these things. What are you taking in? It's for real, you know.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's amazing
Mm-hmm.
because when you talk about that consumption, brother, when you start talking about that consumption, I was watching a video the other day. It came up on my YouTube feed, and it was just children, early words of children, shocking words. And these babies were little bitty babies, couldn't hardly talk, but they were saying bad words. They were saying stuff. But it's because the environment was the place of consumption for that. So they were becoming what they were hearing, what they were seeing with regularity. They were becoming that, right? And so it's so important that we understand that we're training our senses every day. Even our spiritual senses are being trained, but the intention, being intentional about training the senses is different. Because when you make up your mind that you want to train your spiritual senses, you want to divinely mirror or express the essence or the aura of Yah. You know what I'm saying? This is intentional. This is an intentional thing. This is not some, it's just happening because of what I'm consuming, and it's just a response or a reaction to what I've consumed. No, this is intentionality. No, I want to grow. I got people that I'm connected to that are so blessed by what we're doing here, brother. They're so blessed by the lifestyle that they've seen before them. You know what I'm saying? And they say things like, no, I want to grow. I don't want to be in this space. But this is not the mindset of Christendom. This is not the mind of the industrial complex. The mind of the industrial complex is just to go to services and just to show up and just to go to Wednesday and to go to Bible study and to, come to choir rehearsal or praise team rehearsal, and then just to show up on Sunday and do our duties, whatever it is that we are committed to the church to do. But there's a responsibility beyond your gift and your calling. And that is the responsibility to relate healthfully, divinely with your creator, to become an expression that other people can see, that they can taste, that they can consume, that they can read. Something has to be visible to them in order for you to be that expression, in order for you to be what the Father has declared that you are to be. Hallelujah. Well, you just dropped off, brother. There you go. Okay, I'm glad I got you for 10 more minutes. Let's say this. Brother's got to go to another thing, but we're going to take a few more minutes just to step into this breath, because the breath is what defines what we were created to be versus what beasts or other parts of creation were created to be. It's the breath, it's the ruach, the wind, the spirit, the rhythm of mankind that separates us from everything else. Okay, and your obedience is I put on here the trial and obedience, and we've been living through trial and error, and it's not about trial and error, it's about trial and obedience. The obedience is what we are operating in because of the trial. The trial is just a period by which something is given or something is put before you to process through. Like when you do a trial on your on some kind of app or whatever. What are you getting a trial period for? To see how this thing works, to see if the inner working of this thing is something that'll be beneficial for you, right? Well, the Father understands the purpose of the trial is to benefit you. So you have to identify the obedience in the trial so that you don't step over into the error of the trial. You understand what I'm saying? And this is what we are looking at when we look at Noah, because this is where we begin our reading today in Genesis chapter 7 through 9. If you look at that, and we won't get through all of it today, but I promise you we'll come back next week and grab a hold of this. But I want you to read this for your homework, Genesis 7 through 9. When you look at this, the trial is the 40 days and the 40 nights, right? The trial is this number 40. But 40 doesn't just mean trial. It also expresses the grace. There's a two-sided coin there. But grace is connected to obedience. And that's not to be confused with mercy, because mercy is the postponing of or Yah's way not to allow your seed to create the harvest that you deserve. But grace, you remember what he said to Paul, my grace is sufficient. My way of doing things, the God way of doing the thing, okay? My grace, the God way of doing the thing is sufficient. I've given to you my way of doing the thing, and it's sufficient in every situation, right? That number 40 deals with grace, because after the trial comes the grace to operate in a new way, in a new space. Go ahead, brother, say some things about Genesis chapter 7 and about Noah's experience before we get all the way into that, because we're going to read that today while you're gone.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. 7 through 9. That is something. And to be in that, what Yah was giving him to do during that time, looking even at the 7th chapter and coming into the ark and how he set up everything, but he was righteous. He was seen. He said, "I see righteousness before me in this generation," and yet Yah took the unclean and the clean. And it's interesting. And 7 is the theme throughout the 7th chapter of Genesis. 7 is the theme of the things that was taking place. What Yah is doing with Noah and setting up everything and setting him up to be eternal of the things that get ready to take place. Building surrounding him in what we call the ark, and yet it's just interesting when it comes down to you talk about the animals and things like that, and the pairing of the animals, male, female, clean and unclean, and it's interesting. People say that, how big the ark was, and so the actual dimensions and things of the ark is not big at all, because the animals that he put in and said for him to get, they were babies. They were not old, because when you understand what he always used in sacrifices and what have you, were babies for first year of birth. It is just interesting how he and the age of Noah, what it was, and how he entered it when the flood came, and what and the second moon, the 17th day, and all these things that was taking place. Uh, and I'm quite sure it was chaotic. It really was,
Oh,
and there was things that So he was doing things out of obedience. Regardless of what people were saying and what they felt, but out of obedience. And that's the main thing, that, as you were saying, obedience. In the midst of everything, our obedience is very important. I was sharing with somebody the other day. It's not my job to make you love me, but it's Yahweh's commandments to love, and my obedience is to Yahweh. Simple as that. You know, so I ain't trying to make you love me. But my obedience is to Yah, and because of that, it's good for you. Whether just a brother or sister, a husband, a wife, but it's good for you, because my obedience to Yahweh is paramount. It's important. And if my obedience is not to Yahweh, then it's going to be a problem.
yes,
I'm gonna
sir.
try to make you love me. You gonna try to make me love. You gonna try to make me love you, and all like this, all that foolishness. No, 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 no. I can eliminate all that. My obedience is to Yah. So as we see what was taking place uh, in in that the time with he was, Noah was 600 years old. Okay,
My God. And that's something.
six six
Six hundred.
hundred.
600.
And it's interesting, the ability and the strength that he had. Because I've done a study, and I'm still doing some things on their age and their ability, the authority that was upon their lives. You know, and here's this man, building an ark, and then you can correct me, sis. I don't even see where his sons helped him out. I don't. I haven't read it, so you
Oh,
know.
I
You
never
may
read it. Listen, I never read it either, but my assumption is that this is my divine assumption that the gods worked with them because they
so that's where I'm going. See, that's where
absolutely,
I'm going. That
absolutely.
his sons,
It was
but
a divine thing.
because he because he lived a certain life, and he was immortal. He was immortal and long working and given understand how to do things, you know. Uh, and so it's in a specific type of wood, all those things. So it's just really something that to be at a specific age, but yet in our mind, he's operating as a young man doing, but he was a young man doing immortal things, because he got the age of the heavens is not the age of the earth. 600 is not the age of the earth. It's not. That's the age of the heavens, eternal.
That's it.
You know,
That's
and
it.
so so it's just something. It just um but I love it. I love that seventh chapter. It is something, and as you get into it, looking forward to the next time we meet, and to really get into the thing, because um I just the theme of the seventh chapter is seven, seven,
It is.
seven, 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 seven.
And the only other
And
number
so
that we never
what is
quit.
that? Mm-hmm. Is
That's
seven, along with the age of man, six. Uh,
Yeah.
so divine with the here is this man that says six, but yet everything about what he's doing is divine. My divine presence is all over his life.
Come on. Come on.
So but anyway, yeah.
I love it. I love it. We're not gonna stay. We're not gonna stay long because I want to do this. I want to do this together. I was thinking to go ahead and move
Hmm.
through it, but I want to do it together because there's some things that we need to
Okay.
express together because we're going to discuss that male and that female. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Next week
Hmm.
we're going to
Hmm.
discuss those expressions, the form of expressions, the sexuality, and the
Right.
necessity.
Hmm.
But I want to close with this
Ooh,
that
you
600.
going with what now?
You already know
I'm
that
sorry.
600 is often translated as wrath or anger. And in that 600th year, the Father is winding some things up because of his displeasure
Mm,
with his creation. But remember, the purpose of Noah
mm,
was to revert mankind back to peace. But we're gonna talk about it some
mhm.
more. We're gonna talk, but peace comes as a result
Ooh,
of war. Of war.
mm,
So
mm,
listen.
mhm.
I want y'all to read Genesis chapter 7 through 9. We're going to do it again next week, but we're going to be live. But I pray that you're blessed by this short conversation about Torah this week and Close Encounters of the God Kind. We'll still be here next week, part 3, but we'll get through it
Mhm,
all.
mhm.
And I am
All right.
extremely excited to take us back to the future
Yes.
by us back to Torah. Listen, we love
Mhm.
you.
Yes.
Until the next time, you be
Yes.
blessed. Be blessed and don't forget it.
Yes.
And the body is not a me
Yes.
thing, it's a we thing. We bid you shalom.
Mm. Shalom.
Shalom.
Love you forever.
Absolutely. Absolutely.